Street Watcher TV back at you with another exclusive video. I'm back, y'all. I had to come back and drop this heat. Uh, we dealing with self-hatred among our people. Um, that scar of self-hatred lay real deep. It lies real deep in the psychic trait of black people who are afraid of being African. According to the teachings that I came up under, these scholars are no longer living. A lot of black people don't know who these scholars are. And a lot of our young youth are now growing up hating the fact that they may be African descent. So people are saying they're not African. I've been getting into some debates with these particular Negroes. They have no data to back up the fact that they're not black. First of all, we got to tell history like it's supposed to be told. Nobody using data. Nobody using what they call receipts. I don't like to say receipts. I like to say data, real concrete empirical evidence. So when we dealing with the scholarly work of Sheikh Diop, Sheikh Anta Diop, that's what I want to say, Sheikh Anta Diop, the African scholar who was a scientist. You know what I'm saying? He was author of a book called African Origin of Civilization. African scholar. I want you to look him up, young black people. Don't listen to the Negro who's claiming to be Indian or Native American, that we was already here. He is right. The black man and woman was already here before the light-skinned Asian that you want to be got here. Some 16,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago. According to the scholars, these Mongoloid light-skinned people left Asia and migrated to what you call America. But when they got here, the Olmec civilization of African people were already present. Now these new Negroes is coming out saying that the African present wasn't here. We're talking about 1150 BC. You feel what I'm saying? To 500 BC, the African present was already here. Can you do the math? If the Mongoloid, light-skinned Asian, Native American, Indian people that you trying to be got here 15,000 years ago, 1150 BC to 500 BC, what do you got? Come on, man. It's self-explanatory. When the Asians got here, the African was already here. Between the two people, they interbred. They mixed their race. And that's how your Indian became dark-skinned. Also, the Cherokee, the Blackfoot. It's a few more. If you look up Don Cheetah, whatever his name is, Don Cheeto, a Cheetah, whatever this guy's name is, this actor, the black actor, just found out that his African ancestor was enslaved by the Native American, the Indian, the Asian that you're talking about. The Asians, the Indian, had black Africans as slaves. This debunks the theory. It's only a theory that Dane Calloway is professing that African slave trade never happened. See, we're dealing with dates. We're dealing with real live data. He said that the slave trade out of Africa never happened. But if we go to West Africa, off the coast of Dakar and Senegal, you find that there was a slave dungeon that was built by the Portuguese, maybe in the early 1500s or early 1500s or late 1400s. The Portuguese built a slave dungeon, and the British used to show up at this slave dungeon transporting our African ancestors to Great Britain. Here's where these Negroes don't follow history. From the 1700s to 1807, the British shipped Africans into the Americas. So when you tell stories, you got to tell the truth. If the slave trade out of America didn't happen, why did Congress pass a law in 1807 and 1809, Great Britain and America correlated together to make this a law? There will be no more international slave trading from Africa to the Western world. So that kills Dane Calloway that the slave trade out of Africa never happened. How did the Goree Island in Senegal Island have a slave dungeon? And it's recorded history, even from the people of Senegal, who also pay reverence to the African ancestor who came to this part of the world, what we call America. These people can account history of their ancestors being ripped by the Portuguese and the British and America from the slave dungeon. In fact, the Goree Island slave dungeon has a name of the door of no return. Means once you leave through these slave dungeon doors to the ocean, there will be no more return back to Africa. And furthermore, the ancestors is so powerful. You got to be careful, Negroes, how you keep picking at black people and saying that Africans are not here in America. You're not trying to shine light on the truth. In fact, these new Negroes correlate. I'm telling you, these Negroes saying that they're not African, and Egypt is America, and America is older than Africa, and Africa is not the motherland, and America is the motherland. These wishy-washy, self-hatred, bleach in his face ass Negroes want to be Tonto and Sitting Bull and White Wolf. No disrespect to the Indian population. You know, no disrespect to the Indian population, because all Indian populations didn't enslave the African. In fact, they helped the African. And some of these native Asian people and African people made it by choice, and some by force, because the Asian who wanted to be Caucasian also invested in the slave trade. So when you tell history, Dane Calloway, tell the history how the Indians enslaved African people. And that's one way that the Indian became dark-skinned. Blackfoot, Black Cherokee. Let's see if the Cherokee owned black people, Africans. Let's look that up. So when you tell the truth, you got to tell the truth. So 16,000 years ago, when this light-skinned Eskimo looking person that you want to be, when it arrived here to the Americans, the black man and woman was already here. Ivan Van uh, certain book, Ivan Van certain book before they came before Columbus. That's the name of the book. You need to look that up. They tried to debunk the ancestor Ivan Van Sertim. They trying to debunk Ivan Van Sertim. That is a disrespect. See, we constantly have Negroes and black people who disrespect their ancestors, and you wonder why our prayers never get answered. We forget about the ones that came before us. We stand on the ancestors' shoulders. How you think you got to America? Negro. No, all of us didn't come by the slave trade, but the majority of us did. How can you tell me we're not African when you can see the African trait still in the face of black men and women and children in this country? No matter how they race mixed us, the majority, uh, the majority of the DNA is going to be black, even though we're mixed with different races who raped our people. How is it that dark-skinned individuals still come out black and have that African feature? And you telling me that it wasn't no slave trade out of Africa into the Americans? Have you lost your fucking mind? What are you trying to do? Are you being propagated? Are you being paid by the CIA to make light of slavery? Because the conscience of black people are rising up. And then all of a sudden, we ain't African. Egypt is America. And America is the motherland. When this bitch don't even get hot enough to be the motherland. It's not the building blocks to humanity. It's not the building blocks to humanity. The soil over here is not as rich as African soil. All that shit they call Arabia, all that shit they call the Middle East, Israel, all of that is Africa. That was black man land at one time in ancient times. See, you need to do your ancient history to find out who you are. All this self-hatred set behind a computer and a fucking camera coming up with this notion that we're not African. Everything on this planet is African. You feel what I'm saying? So, this is a travesty that's being taught to our people that we're not African. When the oldest artifacts, empires, when you go around the planet and look around the world, the oldest planets, the oldest civilizations and empires are African empires that predate anything in America. Predate. They try to say that the pyramids, that the Olmec, our people, left in America are younger or older, shall I say, they're older than the pyramids in Africa, that's in Egypt. People think that pyramids only exist in Egypt. You're not telling the whole stories. That is African's trait. That is our power. We are stargazers. We use these pyramids to stargaze. You feel what I'm saying? So if you go to Mali, you will see pyramids. If you go to Ethiopia, you will see pyramids, Kush, Nubia, all around the African empires, there are different pyramids. You go to the Dogon tribe, we got pyramids. We everywhere. We got pyramids on Mars. Only one race of people make pyramids. That is the African. So that Olmec civilization that lays in Mexico with 16 colossus of heads. It's a colossal of heads. 16 of them are African features and descent. And a lot of people want to look at those 16 Olmec heads and say they're Mexican. It's funny when they put a Mexican face next to the face of the Olmec head, and the trait is not even there, not even a little bit. The Olmec head be looking like people that you know in your neighborhood that's black. You know what I'm saying? It's deep, man. You know, in the ancestry, back to what I was saying about the ancestor is very powerful. The spirit of the ancestor is very powerful. There was a bunch of Negroes going around saying the slave trade never happened. I think these Negroes are being infused, backed by like the same people who back Black Lives Matter in these Me Too movements. I think there's money being paid to particular young black people to say that we're not African, so we can't stand on those principles and be paid reparations. But as you can see, brothers and sisters, we only don't need money. We don't only need money. We don't only need money. We need a psychological evaluation as a people. It is asinine for you to believe when you look around America and different parts of America, whether it's South America, North America, or Central America, and see the African tradition of certain cultures still intact, for you to say that there was no slave trade happening out of Africa, you have to be semi-retarded. And I hate to say that. You may sound like a scholar. I'm trying to make you think. That shit that you say, Calloway, I'm trying to make you think. But if you listen to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, if you go back and listen to his teachings, he was the first black man that taught that we was the original man. So the original people of the planet, according to Sheikh Diop, I got to go back to the ancestors, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Sheikh Diop, these people who lived before us, who went to Cairo, who went to Egypt, who went to Mexico, who went to different parts of the world to go see for themselves empirically, and they put data in their books. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I believe him before I believe a Dane Calloway. Dane Calloway hasn't built nothing but a bunch of stupid, don't want to be black motherfuckers to follow him. That's the only thing he did. It's easy in America to get a bunch of followers who do not love black people. Did you see the ratio of stupid Negroes wearing Make America Great Again, Make America Great Again hats? Did you see these Negroes? These are suicidal Negroes. Now you got some new Negroes who say they're not African descent. And who are they working for? I want to know, who are they working for? I remember Dane Calloway asking Judge Joe Brown, because I heard that him and Judge Joe Brown had a decent conversation, but somehow it went left when Judge Joe Brown got to getting on him about teaching that asinine teaching that the slave trade didn't happen. See, when you start confronting these Negroes with actual data and facts, they get mad, I'm telling you. On Facebook, they barred me on Facebook. Those Negroes kept posting all these Indian features saying that is us with these feathers in their heads and these water moccasins on and these teepees. Nigga, we build pyramids and huts. No Negro built no motherfucking teepee. We don't wear no motherfucking water moccasins. I live by the Nile. Bitch, I wear crocodile. Excuse my language, but why teach this asinine teaching to the young? This correlates with critical race theory. Go look up critical race theories. This dude, Dane Calloway, and these Negroes around here talking about we was already here, they ain't African, they're being paid. Critical race theory, the fucking Republicans around America, especially in Florida, the governor making it a law if you teach about slavery in school, the school can be defunded and lose its money from the government. Not only that, they want to take that out the school, the teaching of slavery, critical race theory. This correlates. Let's get rid of the African. So you got to pay attention. So the Omicron, the new variant came out of Africa. By 2050, Prince William say that Africa is too populated with human beings. It's going to kill off the animal kingdom. Listen, y'all, see what they're trying to do. The new race of Negroes, slavery didn't exist. Africa's trying to fight for reparations. Let's take the teaching of slavery out the school so the younger generation won't stand on the platform and ask for reparations. Not only ask for reparations, but to demand reparations, because by 2050, to be truthfully, the Caucasian race in America is going to be small. So y'all got to pay attention. So black people, if you hear these Negroes on these platforms talking about we ain't African, get your kids some real scholarly work. You feel what I'm saying? George G.M. James was killed for writing a book called Stolen Legacy, when he proved that the African Egyptians were black people. That Greek freak philosophy that these motherfuckers live on wanted to uphold the facts that Africans, no, these wasn't facts, uphold the non-factual facts that the Greeks, like Plato, Herodotus, what y'all call that, Hippocrates, these were the authors of civilization, the authors of medicine. The Greek were the authors of everything in existence. The Greek fraternities that you see in the colleges, these people turn into these secret societies. This is based on Greek philosophy. So what I'm saying, in those times in 1950s, George G.M. James wrote a book called Stolen Legacy. He was before his time to expose how fake the Greeks were and their philosophy, because it was really African Egyptian philosophy. And when that was exposed, they killed this brother. True story. I want black people to give your kids the real deal Holyfield. Don't let these Negroes teach that we're not African. The one drop rule is real. Once you taint it with this black blood, you are what you are. So we don't get into light skin, dark skin, all of that. See, when you represent African panism, we unite all Africans no matter where they at. This scares the shit out of people. You got people telling me that they love how Steve Coakley exposed the Boule, the Black Mason fraternities. You know what I'm saying? The rich elite, not just the common Mason. We talking about the rich elite Masons who are chosen to keep us blind, deaf, and dumb. You feel what I'm saying? So when you expose this kind of information, back in those days, they killed you. But I want y'all to look up Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James and William Chancellor. destruction of black civilization. They'll show you how the Africans in ancient time were warriors. It took the Caucasian race thousands of years before they brought Africa to a knot. It didn't happen overnight. We're so old on this planet. We've been on this planet before the Caucasian and for the Asian that these Negroes want to be. We was already here to the planet first. I'll argue any nigga who try to say that the native Asian was here on the planet before the African. The African was in Asia. We the original Asians, if you want to be technical. So to teach this teaching that these people teaching, I bet they're backed by the CIA. Dane Calloway is backed by the CIA. That's why he got so many followers. Easy to get blind, deaf, and dumb Negroes to follow him. I heard a woman the other day debating Umar Johnson. She said she was Indian. Her people was already here. Let me tell you something. She sounded stupid as fuck with no data. We was already here. The slave trade. Tell me this. How you get motherfuckers on the slave trade and it take these many days to get. That's how people used to travel in those days. And from what I'm saying, there was a particular current that the African could take from Egypt and the boat would take them straight to America through some type of current. You know what I'm saying? So to say that Africans were not brought to this country on a slave ship is asinine. Anybody teaching them teaching is trying to make light of slavery, trying to give the white man a leeway out so the Neanderthal, the fucking Iceman, the devil, can pay up what they owe. They owe us, they in the red. Let's not start with the Americans. Let's start with the Arabs. All these fucking oil, fucking goddamn refineries that these motherfucking white Arabs set up on. I'm calling them the white man too, because everybody want to be like the white man. Everybody on the planet want to be like the white man. So to me, the Arab is the white man of the East. The Chinese man and the Arab is the white man of the East, because everywhere and over there in those continents, they got Negroes on the bottom. They got the black man on the bottom. And that's why these niggas in this country don't want to be black. If you don't want to be on the bottom, stand up and unite on the African panism. Fuck your religion, because that don't get a nigga free. Your Bible, your Quran still ain't free no niggas. African panism is what got Malcolm killed. It's the most dangerous, potent thing on the planet. But back to Steve Coakley, I heard a nigga say he loved the way Steve Coakley exposed the boule, the black echelon, the black people who want to be white, rub shoulders with the wicked. You feel what I'm saying? He say he doesn't agree with Steve Coakley being an African panism. You know why? Because that's no bullshit. See, a nigga who say he don't agree with that, he want to suck the white man's dick low key. He hate himself. I bet he got bleached skin. He got a perm in his head. Just like these niggas that wear these red fezzes. These niggas, they so into secrecy like the Masons. They so into secrecy. All they do is sit back and talk about black people. Try to take black people down. Any positive brother on the internet who's not into religion and they see him moving like the way he moved, like, let's take for instance, Grandmaster Jay, the NFAC, Not Fuck Around Coalition, the armed militia, black militia, when he was getting all the exposure and people start joining ranks with this brother, seeing all that talking with them feds on, all that just sat behind YouTube talking about black people scared to address the European. See, you them niggas never addressed the European. That's why some of them niggas uphold the red and white and blue flag. Them niggas is down with the European. In fact, some of them niggas, they clean the European up, but they worship the European. They bought the European here on a ship. Motherfucker tell me that Africans were not brought here to America, but they believe Columbus visit to America, but he wasn't the one to discover America. We all agreed that somebody was already here, but he went to El Salvador. He didn't come really to where they say he came. So, but we can believe that this motherfucker came from Spain, Europe somewhere, and got here to America. And you trying to tell me it's not possible for Africans to be transported by a slave ship is asinine. You need to be slapped in the face for teaching this, trying to make light of slavery. You work with the CIA. Any nigga teach that, you down with the fucking CIA. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Judge Joe Brown. I'm from the street. This is why this is called Street Watching TV. So you the fucking CIA. You ask Judge Joe Brown, was he boule? You boule for teaching this bullshit. See, every time it's a Pan-African movement, the government creates a motherfucker to diffuse it, to be the opposition. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So we got, in the days of the boule, Henry Minton and the boys who wanted to be Skulls and Bones. See, I'm dropping the night on their ass. These are the fuck niggas that I'm talking about, that Steve Coakley was exposing. But since he's African panism, some Negroes say he don't agree because we was already here. He's a native. Man, you out your motherfucking mind. You out your motherfucking mind. So, with that being said, y'all, and I know I'm going here and I'm over here, I'm over there. It just baffled me how the world hate African people. And it seems like they've been trying to what can I call it? Deface African presence around the world. Just like 1799 when Napoleon Bonaparte, when he visited Egypt as a conqueror, he couldn't believe, France army couldn't believe that the sculptures that they were looking at were African features. Napoleon said, this can't be. This is Napoleon words. Go look it up. Napoleon said, these people can't be the same people that I'm looking at, because in America, in the Western world, these people are enslaved. It drove him crazy. Napoleon Bonaparte, he couldn't believe that the African that was in America enslaved was responsible, genetically responsible for the monuments in Egypt. We know you Bible-tote niggas was taught that the Hebrews built the pyramids, when the fucking Bible, the fucking Quran, Abraham, all that shit is Johnny come lately. We talking about millions of years the pyramids stood. But this fucking Bible, in rewritten Bible by your boy Constantine in 330 AD, who rewrote a book and gave it to you, a Bible, some shit that they stole out of Egypt from the hieroglyphic. They took our shit and put it in the book and rearranged it and packaged it and gave it to the Negro. The Negro think he got some. And he's still enslaved to this day. The Negro still believe in that hogwash Christianity. That shit is insanity. That shit does nothing for our people. Don't you know this slave dungeon? This is proof positive. This blows Dane, Calloway, all these Negroes out the fucking water. The slave trade didn't exist. And all this old bullshit. On the top of the slave dungeon in Senegal, the gory island. On top of this dungeon, a church was built. Christians were Christians and had slaves, or our ancestors, shall I say. I'm not going to call them slaves. They had our brothers and sisters at the bottom of a slave dungeon where they had church on top. Christianity involved itself in the slave trade. That's why I'm not a Christian. And the Muslims also invaded Africa and enslaved Africans. True story. So, all them stories that you heard that the Hebrews built the pyramids, get the fuck out of here. Stop them motherfucking lies. When Abraham's supposed to be the father of the motherfucking, the Hebrews, and the fucking pyramids predate the birth date of fucking Abraham. Quit lying. See, this is white supremacy and niggas run with it. Niggas run with it. You feel me? So, the ancestors speak, man. The ancestors left, the Olmec heads boldly left their facial features in the Olmec heads. Go look up Olmec. You feel me? Go look at the Olmec heads of New Mexico or Mexico, and you'll see the features of black men. Here's the killer part. If you study that book by Ivan Van Sertim, if you look at that book, they came before Columbus. Read in that book where they show proof positive that when they dug a grave up in Mexico, they found African men buried with Indian women from different facial features. This was a different ethnic group of people who visit America when the African was already here. Yes, all Africans didn't come by the slave ship. I believe that. You know, I know that. I don't only believe that, I know that. So, with that being said, black people, get your kids some real proof positive data. Don't be like no fool. We was already here. We Indians and all this and that. We not African. If you do your DNA test, I bet they say you came from Africa. Shit. Steve Coakley. They didn't like him exposing the boule, really, because these Negroes secretly they want African panism to be the voice for our people, because African panism don't bullshit. That most people adopt African panism in history, like Patrice Lumumba from the Congo, you know what I'm saying? Malcolm X from America, anybody like the Black Panther Party, anybody who adopts like Africans for Africans, no matter where you at around the world, that is a dead man or woman walking, because that's dangerous. So you a bitch if you don't support African panism. To me, you a straight hoe, and that's just the way it is. I don't care how you want to take it. You a hoe, you a bitch. You don't want no freedom. You know what I'm saying? You rather exploit your own just for that money. You don't want freedom for the people. You don't want freedom for your kids. You want to straddle the fence, because African panism don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Crip, Blood, or whatever. We unite up under one banner, and that's to free our people by any means. Guerrilla warfare might have to be part of the tactic. And you scared of that. You scared of that. You still love white supremacy. That's why you scared to be black. You know what I'm saying? All I do is rely on the scholars who lived before we lived. These black people you don't know nothing about. Nobody studied these scholars. Do you know who John Henry Clark is? Read his book. You know what I'm saying? What about Yusuf bin Jakahana? Do you know who that is? Jokahana or Jakahana? Author of the Black Origin. of the black author of the book, The Black Man Origin. You know what I mean? John Henry Clark, author of African People Present in the World. Like I say, man, you could go back to the Don God people. They're older than America. America is not, if you want to call America Egypt, that's cool. I'll let you call America Egypt. Because according to the prophecy of the biblical scripture, which was stolen out of Kemet, we'll call Egypt America if you want to, but don't call America Kemet, because the original name of the place that you call Egypt is Kemet, after the Kemites, the black race, the African. You feel me? So I let you call America Egypt. That's a Greek word. When the Greeks came to Kemet, they called it Egypt. Egypt translate people with burnt faces. You feel what I'm saying? Know your history before you get to talking like the slave trade didn't happen. You know, the ancestors are bold. They left their face on these monuments and statues to show the world who we were. They knew the prophecy. They knew there was going to be a race of people who tried to hide our history, to try to keep us as a subhuman people. When we more than that, we are the authors of everything in the civilization. And the Caucasian is jealous of that. The Asian is jealous of that. They had an Asian who did a DNA and said the Asian race is responsible for itself. The Asian race is just an Asian race. When the Asian did his DNA, guess where his DNA lay at? In Africa. His father and parents was African. What I mean by that, his biological father and parents were Asian, but the Asian father and mother was African. So Negro, this was a light-skinned Asian doctor who professed that he knew the facts, that the Asian race was an Asian race by itself. But the Asian race came into existence from black people. We are the fathers and mothers of civilization. So it's asinine for you to teach that bullshit you teaching. Who you motherfucking work for? Who you niggas work for? The cat is out the bag, man. Y'all motherfuckers are a CIA motherfucking plant. I know it. You correlate with this critical race theory. Take that curriculum out of school. Don't teach the kids about racism and about slavery. Don't you know in certain states on the work force, they will fire you if you bring a race on the job. So anybody who wants to run to the supervisor and complain about race, you will be fired. See, they secretly trying to get rid of us. I see what's going on. Y'all not looking at the onslaught of Africa that they get ready to try to put Africa through. So if you're not African descent, if you're not African, when they start killing these Africans like they get ready to, I think they're on a mission to get rid of African people. They want us all to look like Steph Curry, and after a while, they want to get rid of black people in a hurry. This is why you got this planned fucking gimmick. I'm not falling for the gimmick. You feel me, Negro? I know I'm African, and my great-grandmother is Indian or Native American mixed with what? African. Because when the native 15,000, 16,000 years ago came to America, the black man and woman was already here. You feel what I'm saying? The ancestor left the inscriptions in the tombs of who we were around the world, digging up the artifacts. These anthropologists, Egyptologists, They know who the fuck we are. So, with that being said, Negroes, I'm not falling for the trap. The ancestors very powerful. They talk to me. They talk to the world. Remember when this Negro, Dane Calloway, said that the slave trade didn't happen? There was no slave ships left America and went to Africa. Remember when he said that? So I went back and checked this out. Why would this Neanderthal create a law in 1807? That's what I want to get back to because I know I got away from this. In 1807 to 1808, 1807, 1808, Great Britain and America became partners to ban the importation of Africans from Africa into the Western world. That is a law in Congress. Why would this Neanderthal come up with this law? This law was in 1807, 1808. But there were white people breaking the law. International law still taking ships to Africa. And it's been proven. See, the ancestors know how to speak to us when we think they ain't speaking. So you remember when this Dane Calloway, with his uneducated ass, started talking about there was no slave ships left up out of Africa. From America to Africa. But there was a hurricane in Mobile, Alabama. And it was a story that the locals told down in Mobile, Alabama. They live in a little town called African Town, where they told a story where the slave ship brought their ancestors to Mobile, Alabama. And the last living survivors of these people that was on this particular slave ship, the slave ship was called the Clotilda. The Clotilda. You could look this up. This ship was discovered in 2018. Now the people of that particular area in Mobile, Alabama, never had no evidence. All they had was a message, orally message passed down through the last survivors of the people that was on this slave ship, and they kept passing this history down orally. They had no documented proof, but they were just saying what their ancestors said, and they named this town called African Town. People laughed at these people. They didn't believe them. This is how the ancestors spoke. It was a hurricane, 2018 in Mobile, Alabama. Y'all can check it out. This slave ship that was missing from the puzzle of these people from this little town called African Town in Mobile, Alabama. This wreckage was bought up. And this particular person that was helping these black people look for this Clotilda finally found it in 2018. I want you to look that up. So that blows Dane Calloway out the water. The ancestors know how to talk to us. When you look in Africa and you see those monuments with those big lips and those big noses, the African ancestor is talking to us. So don't let nobody tell you that you're not African. True indeed, the Native American, we had sex with them, we interbreed with them. But let's go back to the one drop rule. I mean, if you check your DNA, you're more in love with the heritage of your Indian side or your native side, please tell the whole story. Quit saying that you're not African and the slave trade didn't happen, because it's too much proof that the slave trade happened. You know, it's too much truth. You know what I'm saying? Scientists have found that American population from Canada to Chile arose from 3 migrants with three majority descended entirely from a single group, the first Americans, migrants that crossed over the Beringia land bridge between Asia and America. Scientists have found that the Native American population from Canada and Chile rose from at least three migrations. Let's read this right. Scientists have found that Native American population from Canada to Chile arose from at least three migrations, with the majority descended entirely from a single group of first American migrants that crossed over the Beringia land bridge between Asia and America, existed during the time where Africans was already here in this country. In the Americans, we was already here. So we talking about this migration happened 15,000 years ago. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad say 16,000 years ago, the Asian left Asia and came to America 16,000 years ago. All the scientists are saying 15,000 years ago. They saying these people migrated out of Asia, and it fit. And that's how they got their skin color. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all got to tell history like it's supposed to be told. I'm just bold enough to tell it like it's supposed to be told. The African scholar Cheikh Anta Diop, author of the book African Origin of Civilization, basically breaks it down that the first people to the planet were dark skinned, and the hottest region of the world for this dark skin to be compensated is by where? The hottest place on the planet, Africa. So quit saying that America is the birthplace of man. It's too cold here. It's cold outside. You need a jacket. In some parts of America, you need a jacket. Yeah, some hot parts in South America. But most majority of America is cold. It's not hot enough to be the building blocks for humanity. Stop lying. You know, we know you're afraid of being African. If you want to be Indian, be Indian. But tell the truth how the Indians had Africans in the slave trade. Look it up. Look it up. Don Cheadle, the actor Don Cheadle, did a DNA and found out that his African ancestors were owned by Indians. The Cherokee owned black people. Why this part of the history is not being told? You know what I'm saying? I'm just bold enough to tell history like it's supposed to be told. You feel me? This street watching TV, man. Mash up the likes, share the video, man. And quit hating yourself. You feel me? Black people, pay attention. Y'all get some books, man, and teach y'all black kids the truth, man. I mean, sometimes truth is an ugly picture. But if you get some ancient history of black people when we was on top of the world, that would give your kids some self-esteem. When they look in the mirror, they won't want to be Spider-Man and the white Superman, and they won't want to be like some of these ass rappers. You feel me? You want to be masculine. Your kids' heroes should be Malcolm X. I know you think it's a dangerous job. Your kids' heroes should be Denmark Vesey. You know what I'm saying? Your kids' heroes should be Marcus Garvey, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know what I mean? Because these people fought for our people. You feel what I'm saying? No actor, no famous celebrity black is going to do shit for no black people because they has to be in trouble. Do the math. I'm not a mathematician. I'm going to say this and then I'm gone. It's 50, let's say it's roughly 50 million black people in this country. Oprah Winfrey, whatever how you say her name, Oprah is worth billions. Floyd Mayweather may be worth $1 billion. There's a lot of rich entertainers out there. Shaq, all these rich entertainers. How come they can't help 50 million black people? You be honoring your ancestors doing something for the 50 million black people on this planet. Not all of the 50 million, but some of the 50 million that don't have any money. Not only that, every black neighborhood should be built up like the white neighborhoods. With all this fucking money, but they know better. Because you got the boule who work for who? Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones get a boule, this little money, this little rain over us to keep us blind, deaf, and dumb. If you go back and study history, y'all, that I'm gone, history is your best teacher. This is why these niggas is asinine, that we not African. Study your history and fuck what them niggas talking about. Them a bunch of self-hatred ass, weak ass, beta male ass niggas. Them some beta male ass niggas. An entertainer in Rome, in ancient Rome, was a beta male. The male, so-called the alpha male, had sex with the entertainers. I'm telling you, it was a gay society. I'm telling you, it's the same thing going on in this country. So you be hearing these niggas talk asinine about Africa. These niggas are being fucking paid. I don't give a fuck what they say. I'm not Judge Joe Brown. And when you start getting on these niggas, hitting them with that data, those niggas will result to want to kill you like the white man. I listened to Dane Calloway. And Judge Joe Brown conversation. He disrespected the elder. See, when you got the African tradition and you're a Pan-African, you wouldn't disrespect your elders. He disrespected his elder. He disrespected the brother. Said he was going to pull up on the brother over words. Is that how we act over words? I'm glad I'm a street nigga. I stay, prepared for that type of shit. Because if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. When you represent African panism and you stand on them principles, you supposed to practice guerrilla tactics and guerrilla warfare and guerrilla defense. This is the most dangerous art that you could be up under. So it's asinine for a nigga to say he liked Steve Coakley when he exposed the black boule, when he exposed the black boule, but he downtrodden Steve Coakley for being an African panism. The most powerful belief on the planet. This what got Patrice Lumumba killed. Study Patrice Lumumba. You feel me? This what got Nelson Mandela locked for 27 years. This is what got Geronimo Pratt locked up in this country for 27 years, the Black Panther that they lied on and said he murdered some people in Santa Monica, California, when he was 100 miles away in another city in California. You feel what I'm saying? African painters have got Frank Hampton killed. You feel what I'm saying? So now you got these new branch of Negroes, we ain't African. I'm gone, man. Self-hatred a bad motherfucker. Self-hatred a bad motherfucker. Black power, stay black. I'm African.